What if you could think like a designer when planning your career? Designers have a special way of thinking. Besides using creative problem solving, they don't only search for answers, but for new questions. The reason might seem obvious, although usually forgotten. What if we're trying to solve the wrong problem? Also, because this approach helps to challenge predefined assumptions and get more innovative solutions. But this is not the only reason it is special. You probably have already heard about design thinking. If you haven't, don't worry, I'll explain how it works and how you can use it for your next career steps. Design thinking is a philosophy, a mindset, a way of thinking with a set of tools and multiple exercises to help you solve problems creatively through a human-centered lens. As the name says, it is the way designers think, the process they use for project development and innovation. This approach brings together what is desirable from a human point of view with what is technologically feasible and economically viable. There's not just one definition of design thinking and, most of all, not just one way of doing it. There's no recipe for it also. Some authors and companies define it with 4 steps, others with 5 or even 6, but the main idea and its principle remains the same, with clear phases no matter how many steps you want to name. Also, although it has clear phases, its process is not linear and it is flexible. Here, we are going to consider 5. The 5 main steps are empathize, define, ideate, prototype, and test. When you're trying to create something new or solve a complex problem, you can use design thinking to help you get to the solution. The difference between design thinking and other processes that can be used for problem solving is that design thinking focuses on the human-centered side of creative problem solving. It is a human-centered approach to help you solve problems creatively. It is about empathizing and figuring out who you're designing for, what their needs are, and then helping you solve that problem, helping you innovate based on those needs. So, while some other processes focus, for example, on technology, let's say that a company has a technology and wants to build something with it. Design thinking helps you to look at from the customer, the human perspective, to create innovative products, service, experience, or whatever it is that you're looking for, even when you have no idea what it is yet. These 5 main steps have different tools and exercises, and they are very, very flexible. It is that process that every company or designer does it differently, but the main steps always remain the same. Step number 1 is empathize. It is about understanding the people you're trying to design the product or something else for. In this step, it is about gathering information for the project, interviewing, creating personas, trying to figure out who am I making this for? What is their problem? What do these people do? What do they love? What do they care about? It is about empathizing with the people you're designing for. Here, you also research important information about the market, context, constraints, and things you need to consider for your particular project. Some authors call this step preliminary immersion. Step number 2 is to define. Here, you're taking everything you learned from the previous steps and breaking it down and coming to conclusions about what are the user's needs, what are their problems, what are their challenges, what are the insights and things that we can use from the empathize step. What are we taking from that? What information can we use and turn into something that can help us solve our problem? What are the patterns, common problems, things we can use to help us in the future? Step 3 is to ideate. Now you're taking everything you learned from the previous steps and coming up with solutions, ideas, and potential matches of the insights. Here's where you often see the brainstorming part, where everybody comes with stickers and ideas for potential solutions to the problem. Step 4 is prototype. Here, you're going to select the ideas you want to develop, the ones you think might be worth taking into something more realistic. You are also turning these ideas into simple, testable prototypes. They are not fully designed or complete. It's simply something you can test with real users in the next step. So, step 5 is test. Now, you're going to take the prototypes that are based on what you created on the step 3, ideate, and you're taking them to test with real people, which are your users. These people are selected based on what you learned on step 1, empathize. Essentially, these real people are going to use the product and you are going to get feedback from them in real time based on what they are using, your prototype. And once you've got your test results, you go back to the cycle, going back to the define phase. You also check if you need to better understand your user. You brainstorm over new ideas. You redefine your prototype, everything based on your new learnings. You are coming up with new ideas, new insights, improving your prototype to test it again. And that is the core design thinking cycle. The main steps, the zoom out idea. However, when you zoom in, there are a lot of different, flexible, not defined exercises that can be used for each step. You have a broad perspective of what you can do, but no rule set or time defined to do them. You can combine them based on what you want to use, your needs, or your kind of project. The important aspects about design thinking you should keep in mind. Empathize with the user. Be open to put your user's shoes, to learn, to think and feel like them. Think abductively and intuitively. Use creative and logical reasoning, using your personal repertoire and the information you get during the project. Ask questions, not only search for answers. Start asking questions, not trying to find the right answers. Co-create and collaborate. Search for different perspectives and point of views. Divergent and convergent thinking. Create choices and make choices. Prototype. Make ideas tangible to reduce uncertainty, to get early feedback, to improve ideas and avoid, in early stage, something that won't work. It's about failing early and often. Iterate. Learn from feedback, from mistakes and information you get, and come back to improve, to recheck, to build and test it again several times. Okay, design thinking seems great, but how might I make it helpful for my career? If you can take this approach for products, services, and strategies, why can't you use it for your career? Here's how. In step 1, consider yourself as the user. Empathize with yourself. Go deep in understanding what you really like, what are your needs, your skills, areas of interest. What are the important things about you? Then, for step 2, define what are the problems you want to solve, challenges you want to tackle, goals to reach, things that can help you in the future. In step 3, imagine possibilities for your career. Brainstorm over the information you got in the previous steps and try to create new ideas for your career to solve the challenges you have been facing, to reach your goals. In step 4, start sketching how to make your ideas possible and tangible. What do you need to do to make it happen? For step 5, find ways to test your ideas and check right or wrong perceptions. Then, iterate to understand how to improve your idea of your future career. Go back to step 1 and check information about yourself. Maybe you need to brainstorm new ideas and get better insight. Design thinking can help you find new and innovative possibilities for your career and for your life. In the next video, I will explain with a real example. If you'd like to know more about the subject and how to design your career, please contact me.